Next 5-star read was The Romance Party of Two by Jasmine Gilmore. Hi friends, it's Courtney. Welcome back to the Bibliostyle. If you are new here, thanks for stopping by. And for returning subscribers, I'm glad that you're here to hang out with me and chat about books. So we're going to talk about what I read in July, and for me, it was a really good reading month. I'm a fairly slow reader, I think, but I managed to read 11 books in July, which is the most that I have read in a month all year, so I'm pretty proud of myself. I had 2 5-star reads, one was a 2-star read, and yeah, I found some stuff that I really enjoyed, so let's talk about it. Let's start with the 2-star read. So I actually have already returned that to the library, but it was Sex and Vanity by Kevin Kwan. He is also the author of Crazy Rich Asians, which I really enjoyed, both the book and the movie. So I was looking forward to this book, and ultimately I was really disappointed in it. It just felt oddly dated to me, and I don't know if that's because of like where we are right now as a country, kind of this excessive wealth and name dropping and all of that. Just, I don't know, it felt like not really where we are right now, and it felt a little bit of a rehash of Crazy Rich Asians. So it's essentially like, it was supposed to be like a fun, kind of frothy summer book for me, and everything just felt really everything just felt really try hard to me in that book, and I didn't really enjoy it very much. Everything else I read last month was, I'm going to pull up my Goodreads. I think it was essentially like 4 stars for everything else. So we will start with The Bookish Life of Nina Hill by Abby Waxman. I read another book by this same author, Other People's Houses, last summer, and I really enjoyed it, and I also really enjoyed this. This is the story of Nina Hill. She is a quiet introvert. She works in a bookstore. She lives in LA. She is the daughter of a single mother. She never knew her father growing up. I don't even think her mother had disclosed like her father's name, and her mother is a photographer, so she kind of jet sets around the world, and essentially Nina was raised by her nanny, who in some ways she feels closer to than her mother, but at the start of the book she discovers who her father is, and that he has passed away and left her something in his will, in addition to leaving her with a rather large extended family. So this is kind of about how she navigates being part of an extended family unit that she doesn't really have any experience with. Some of them are not too happy about her becoming a member of the family. It's about how she deals with the different sides of her father. I think he was married 3 times, and then while he was married to one of his wives, he had an affair with Nina's mother, and she is a result of that relationship. And then he was a very like successful businessman. So there are all these different sides of her father that different people have, and she is putting them all together and trying to figure out, like, you know, who he is, or who he was, I should say. And then there is also a romance in this book that is very sweet. Overall, I really, really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. Let's see.
Your next book, Mom?
What's my next book? I'm not going to read my next book. So the next book I read, it was an audiobook. It was another historical romance by Tessa Dare, Any Duchess Will Do. I really enjoyed this book as well. What I'm learning about the setup, or the setup so far of the novels that I've read by Tessa Dare, there really is the female main character who, for the time that the books are set in, is very forward-thinking and independent and free-spirited, and usually the male main character is, you know, this brooding man who needs redemption in some way, or finds redemption in these relationships. They are a little bit insta-lovey, but overall I really do enjoy them. This one was no different. I gave it 4 stars. And the next couple of books I read for the reading rush, I did post my TBR, but I never really updated it. There were some things that went down with the reading rush that were ultimately disappointing, and I will link some videos that some other creators have made about it that really explain it probably better than I could. So it will probably be the last time that I participate in it, although I was happy in that it helped me probably read more than I would have. I managed to read 5 books during the week. The first one was The Stranger Diaries, which is a mystery by Ellie Griffiths. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was a solid mystery. So the main character, I can't remember her name. She is a teacher at Claire. She is a teacher at a school outside of London, and at the beginning of the story, one of her colleagues and her really good friend is murdered, and so the story is about that. There is a note that is left at the crime scene that draws her into the investigation. The detective, I'm not sure what they call them. The investigator is an Indian woman, which I found interesting, and I haven't seen it very much in police procedurals. This is the first book in a series, and I will definitely read the next book. I really enjoyed it. So this series is going to follow the detective, and I'm interested to see how her character gets fleshed out a little bit more. So, and then the next book that I read was The Good Luck Girls. This is a YA dystopian story about 5 girls. So it takes place in this alternate world called Arquetta, which kind of has a little bit of a Wild Western feel to it. And basically there are 2, I guess, classes of people, and I can't remember what they are called, but essentially how you tell them apart is one class of people can cast shadows and the other class cannot, and the people who cast shadows are basically the lower class, like marginalized group of people in this society, and they are indentured servants, and the debt is so overwhelming that they'll never be able to really dig themselves out of it. As a result, many of them have sold their daughters into what is basically human trafficking, and they go to live and ultimately work in these brothels. This is a story about 5 girls who escape their house and go on this quest for freedom to a different country. And I really enjoyed this book more than I thought I would. I have been trying to connect with more fantasy that I like. I like that this was fantasy, but it still felt recognizable to me. I enjoyed the friendships between the girls. There's a romance between 2 of the girls, and then 2 of the girls are sisters. So overall, this was a really good read, and I gave it 4 stars. 4 stars. The next thing that I read for the reading rush was an ebook. It was a collection of essays called Thick, which I also gave it 4 stars, and they're basically essays about the intersection of blackness and feminism. Some of them were funny, some of them were really kind of gut-wrenching, but I really enjoyed all of them. I think the one that kind of hit me the hardest was the one where the author talks about losing her daughter and that experience, and just the Black maternal mortality rate is something that hits home with me, as I had a really difficult pregnancy and delivery, and
keeps giving us the
almost went through a similar experience as the author. So I gave that 4 stars as well. The next thing that I read was The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I gave this 4 stars. This is a mystery. There's a wedding on a remote island off the coast of Ireland. At the beginning of the book, we know that one of the guests will not survive the wedding, but we don't know who. And we get to hear, I believe there are 5 points of view in this book. There are 5 points of view, and it kind of jumped, the timeline jumped a bit, but I didn't find it confusing. I think there were 2 twists. One I had sort of figured out, the other one I didn't. So overall, I think it was a solid and engaging mystery. And then the other book that I read for the reading rush, and one of my 5-star reads of the month, was Anna Kay by Jenny Lee. This is a modern retelling of Anna Karenina, and I really, really enjoyed this book. Everything that I thought Sex and Vanity was going to be, this book was. It was excessive and over the top in looking at the lives of the 1%, but it was also sweet and charming in some ways. It was tragic. I was gutted by the ending. If you've read Anna Karenina, you probably have a feeling about what happens at the end. I had never read Anna Karenina. I'd seen the movie, but I didn't really, I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying that much attention, or I wasn't really engaged with it too much, because yeah, the ending got me. But I really, really loved this book. Apparently it's going to be a series, so I will probably read the next book in the series to see what happens with that. But I highly suggest this if you're looking for like a fun end of summer staycation read. My next 5-star read was Party of Two by Jasmine Gilroy. And this is the story of Olivia and Max. They have a really sweet meet cute in a hotel bar where she is staying. She's just moved from New York back to her home in LA. She is a lawyer. She's starting her own firm. She meets this cute guy at the bar. They have some banter back and forth and kind of leave it at that. Later, when she goes back up to her hotel room, she realizes that he is a junior senator from California who is buzzworthy and that he is very, very attractive. I forget what they call him. He has like a nickname. And they later meet at a fundraiser where he is giving like a keynote speech and date. I think she goes into it thinking that it's going to be kind of a casual thing, and he falls for her instantly, and it's kind of, this is the story of them kind of working out their relationship and what it means to love someone who is a public figure. So I really, really enjoyed this book. And then I read Real Life by Brandon Taylor. This is the story of Wallace, who is a grad student at a Midwestern university. He comes from a small town in Alabama. He is Black and gay, and this story takes place over the course of a late summer weekend. The writing in this book is absolutely gorgeous. The prose is really spare, but not in a stingy way. It's definitely more of a character-driven novel. It's not plot-driven, so the pacing is fairly slow. And I think that adds to the atmosphere of those like lazy days that you have at the end of summer where it's not quite fall. And it really just explores his relationship with his group of friends, his budding romance. We get him making peace with some of the things that happened in his past, and I just,
Hey guys, welcome back.
I thought it was just a really beautifully crafted novel, and I gave
I'm talking
this,
about books like you.
okay, and I gave this 4
Guys,
stars as
welcome
well.
back. Today we're talking about books.
Do you want to come say hi? So that, come here, do you want to sit down? Can you say hi?
Hi.
That is what I read in July. If you enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.